Welcome to the pod. Riley's gone trying to get his dog. Welcome to the pod. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Nightly Podcast. Welcome to episode 1 of the Nightly Podcast. My name is Jasper. I run Lions Nightly,
I'm Riley. I run Oklahoma Nightly.
and we are so excited to bring you guys the first episode of the Nightly Podcast. So, before this thing starts, I just want to give you guys a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today. And it's basically this whole thing is wrapped around the college football playoff. We're going to be talking about the NY6 games, which are usually the big bowl games, and then also the games that are about the college football playoff. And we're also going to be talking about the format of the college football playoff and what we feel could be adjusted to make the college football playoff better. So let's start right off with the bowl games, the NY6 bowl games for sure. So let's see. What are the first bowl games we have this year?
The first game is the Peach Bowl. It's Cincinnati versus Georgia.
Okay. Who do you have in that?
I've been a big Cincinnati fan all season. I like Desmond Ritter, and I like Group of Five love. I've been saying this all season, but I think Georgia comes out the top in this one. I think this is going to be Cincinnati's first loss this season. They struggled against Tulsa for the conference championship game. Obviously, the weather sucked, so it does kind of run into why they struggled. I think Georgia just takes this one home.
Got it. Yeah. If you guys don't know, the Peach Bowl is actually played in Atlanta, Georgia. So if fans are allowed into this game, which I don't know 100% if they are, but if it is, it's a big change.
Probably be limited capacity.
Okay, so yeah, if there's limited capacity, almost 99 to 100% of them will be Georgia fans. Of course, everyone's been hopping on the Cincinnati hype train this year. They've done really well, and this is their chance to play against the big competition that all these critics have wanted them to play against. The thing is, just Georgia's just too good. They're playing in their home state. They're playing in a stadium they're familiar with. They won't feel too far from home, and I just think Georgia will pull this one out. And I mean, obviously, the whole country hopes Cincinnati would win, right? But I just don't see it being possible.
And I just like to say, JT Daniels is balling.
Yeah, he's
It took him
off
all season to play, but he is playing like he could be a Heisman contender next season.
Yeah, big time.
He's gonna compete. It's gonna be a good Georgia team next year. The next game we have Oregon and Iowa State.
Okay, that's the
I think
Fiesta Bowl.
Is gonna be a solid matchup. Yes, the Fiesta Bowl. That Oregon team is quite interesting. So they lost to Oregon State, obviously. They lost a couple games this year. They took Washington's spot in the Pac-12 championship. And then Iowa State is the Big 12 runner-up. Iowa State's a really good football team. They beat my Sooners once. We beat them once. Their only loss this year, or they had 3 losses: us, Oklahoma State, and then Louisiana Lafayette, which was a terrible loss. That shouldn't have happened. I think Iowa State's gonna take this one though.
Okay.
That Oregon team, I'm just not too confident in.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with you on this one. I think that Oregon team is just too out of position, and I think they're just too young of a team. Oregon really just kind of got thrown into the Pac-12 championship, and they just kind of pulled out a win. I'm pretty sure. I don't really know. I don't pay attention to Oregon, but they're facing up against a very solid Iowa State team, the team that a lot of people weren't projecting to do that well this season, and really just came out of nowhere and really showed that they belong in the upper rankings. And Oregon played such a short season, and it was just such a really bad, and they also have multiple losses. So it shows their weaknesses of Oregon and Iowa State, even though they lost to Oklahoma, even though they traded and things like that. I think just Iowa State's the stronger team out of the two, and I think Iowa State's going to pull it out. But both teams are really young, and both teams have good futures. I think Iowa State, this is huge for Iowa State, especially for recruiting in the next 5 years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they got Breece Hall at running back. He's
right.
I think he finished I think 7 or 6 in the Heisman finalist rankings.
Right. Yeah, I think he finished. Yeah,
he's
7th.
If he does return, Brock Purdy is also really great. Really great. They have Mike Rose on defense. He won the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. He's also a baller. That's a good Iowa State team, and this game can do a lot. And the winner gets PS5s too. So.
No, Iowa State is Breece Hall. If he does return next season, I think he could be the leading candidate for the Heisman Trophy.
I
I think
completely
he's
agree.
criminally underrated this year. And
Oh yeah,
it's
it's because he's at
hard.
Iowa State.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
And it's hard to be in the same talks as quarterbacks, especially with our Heisman finalists this year with I think it's Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, and Devontae Smith, even though Devontae Smith is a wide receiver. Um, Hall just really came out of nowhere, just like the Iowa State team itself. And he really showed that he is one of the, if not the best running back in college football. And this next future, if this next year, if he stays, I'm pretty sure he has to, he's going to have a field day, and I'm very excited to watch him. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of NFL teams are going to keep an eye on him for this bowl game, and especially next season.
I mean, Iowa State's really been putting out some talent lately, though. I know it's
Yeah,
really under the radar. They have David Montgomery. They had Hakeem Butler, I think his name was, a couple years ago. He didn't really do much in the league. He got drafted by the Cardinals and then ended up getting cut after an injury. He was an insanely good receiver. Alan Lazardi's one of the
he's a
Packers' best
stud.
receivers. He's killing it. He's also
Yeah,
injured this year, but from what he's doing as healthy is so impressive.
big
They just
time.
keep racking up these guys, and it's nice. Next game we got the Cotton Bowl. It's Oklahoma versus Florida. I really like this matchup, and I'm glad this is what the Cotton Bowl was. Uh, I'm a diehard Sooners fan since day one. Um, Obviously, this pick's a little biased. I think we pulled off. I don't think it's a blowout. Some 14 fans or fans say it's a blowout. That ain't gonna happen. Florida's defense is awful. It's really bad.
It's
Uh,
gruesome.
they do have a really good offense though. Kyle Pitts will be out for this game, so I don't know how much that's going to affect them. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I got my Sooners in this one though.
Yeah. I actually didn't know Kyle Pitts was out of this game until he just said that, which is very big because Pitts was also potentially a Heisman candidate at one point during the season.
It's a top
This
15 pick
is
this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's Kyle Trask's like top target. So, Kyle Trask is really gonna have to. I think this is more of a proving game for Kyle Trask than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Trask this game needs to prove that he can go up against a solid Oklahoma defense. It is solid, even though it's young
Yeah,
in some spots.
it's
It really
ranked I think
is.
20th right now, which is
Yeah,
good considering the Sooners defense was ranked like 140ish like 2 years ago.
it really,
Whenever
yeah,
when we played Bama in the playoff, that defense was one of the worst defenses of all time. That was
yeah,
awful. So
yeah.
top 20 defense now is very impressive, and it's going to be a good matchup for Florida's offense, I think.
Big time. Yeah. And like Oklahoma set, I feel like their offense has really started to click, especially you guys, if you've watched, especially when they played Oklahoma State, when they just destroyed Oklahoma State. Everything was clicking.
Oh, that was
Um,
insane.
it was an
Uh,
insane game. But this is just going to be, I think personally, a blowout on the Oklahoma side. And I just don't think Florida's defense can keep up with Oklahoma's offensive pace. I just don't think they'll be able to hold their ground. I think, like I said, this is more of just a proving game for contrast than anything. But yeah, I got Oklahoma on this one.
yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited.
Yeah,
This Wednesday, I
big
took
time.
off work. I'm ready for it. Uh, this next game we got the Orange Bowl, which is North Carolina versus A&M. This game can go one of two ways. Either A&M's gonna be very upset about not getting the playoff, which is they are. It's understandable. Or they're not gonna be motivated and they're gonna lose to North Carolina. So that's gonna go one or two ways.
Mhm.
I got A&M, but who knows? That A&M off or that North Carolina offense is really really good. Defense on the
Yeah,
other hand, not so much. That offense, they got a lot of firepower over there.
yeah, absolutely. Um, like this game is like it's a toss up, man. Like North Carolina, I still think they're one of the most overrated teams in the college football. They do have an amazing running backfield. They have a great
Yeah,
quarterback.
there you go.
Yeah. And I don't know if I know one of the running backs declared to the NFL draft. I don't know if he's staying for the bowl game or not. Um, but that's a big deciding factor. But I don't know. It's either Texas A&M takes out all their anger on North Carolina, or it can stay a close game. And obviously, if you've
Yep.
seen on Twitter, if you've seen on social media, Texas A&M is so ticked that they're not in this game, and we'll get to that later. but it's just the fact that they got ripped off this hard. And like if you guys don't know what the Instagram College Football Committee is, as a page on Instagram with over 5,000 followers, they have their own committee and they create their own um, college football playoff. And every single week we've had Texas A&M in the playoff. Now, would it matter? Probably not. Either way, the 4 seed is going to get destroyed by Bama. But I mean, it's still
or even if you put them at the 3 seed, they're
right.
Clemson's
If
gonna
you
kill
put them
them
at the
too.
3 seed and put them against Clemson, it would be a totally or no Ohio State or one of the two. It'd be a totally different story. But and we'll get to that later. But I see Texas A&M winning this just because they're out of pure rage from their end. I just don't see them pulling. I don't see North
Yeah.
Carolina pulling this out.
All right, so next we're gonna hop into the playoff. The first matchup we got the Clemson Tigers and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Such a controversial game.
Yeah.
Uh, Ohio State's a good football team, but 6 games, man. Again, we'll get into that in a little bit. I think Clemson's gonna just kill them. This Clemson team, it's still. I mean, they are good every year. This is a pretty good Clemson team right here. They did struggle against Boston College, but Bama struggled against Ole Miss. A&M struggled against Vanderbilt.
Right.
Ohio State struggled against Northwestern and Indiana. So every team has a bad game here and there. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like Clemson in this game. I think they just beat Ohio State and shut up the Ohio State fans.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, I'm a big Michigan State fan, so seeing Ohio State lose is very enjoyable to me. But with the firepower that Clemson has, and it's just, with Trevor Lawrence, who's probably going to win the Heisman unless he does terrible and Kyle Trask is amazing or Mac Jones is amazing.
Maybe he might not win the Heisman, but he's first overall pick.
But he will, no matter what, he's the first overall pick, and that's
Yeah.
pretty clear. I mean, he's 6'5", 225. Who doesn't want that as an NFL quarterback? But I just don't see Justin Fields like racking up points against this defense. I mean,
he's just kind of been struggling this year.
He really has. And that's been shown against Indiana, against Northwestern. When
Through
he has a
multiple picks
bad
against them
game,
both.
when he has a bad game, it's a bad game. Like, it is treacherous. He's very, very bipolar when it comes to his games. But when he has a great game, it's an amazing game. But
He's
then
a
again,
Heisman
the Big Ten is weak this year. It's very weak. The play is weak. You have like 2-5 Penn State, 3-5 Michigan State, 3-5 Michigan. They didn't really play a lot of tough teams. Now, of course, Northwestern was top 10, but that was also kind of controversial. But I see Clemson absolutely destroying Ohio State. I just don't see them coming even close.
I think it's a hey stop talking type game.
Yeah, I think definitely. Clemson's coming into this game to shut Ohio State up. And both of them have struggled with COVID. Clemson or Trevor Lawrence was out for 2 weeks with COVID. Ryan Day was out with COVID. I think Justin Fields had a high contact earlier in the season. So hopefully COVID does not affect either of these rosters, because I'd love to see both full healthy rosters go at each other. But we just have to wait and see. But yeah, I have Clemson destroying in this one.
Yeah, I really like this Clemson team. I do like Justin Fields, but in the 2019 season alone, he only threw I think it's 3 picks. If I'm wrong, sorry. I think he only threw 3 picks in the whole 2019 season, and then copied that in the Indiana game alone. Like, you can't. Like, he's my number 2 pick in the draft, maybe 3. I don't know. But you can't just throw 3 picks in a game.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I think Clemson was out for sure.
Justin Fields threw only 3 interceptions last year. He also threw 41 touchdowns. Then again, I know there's a lot of game difference. But this year, he has Justin Fields did complete more passes, but had 5 interceptions this year in less games, and 15 touchdowns. But
and most of those interceptions were against the only 2 good teams he played.
Right.
Indiana, which Indiana's a solid team. I thought they probably could have pulled off that win against Ohio State if they just given a little more time. They had that Northwestern team. That defense is one of the better defenses this season alone. So I mean, it's not like they were terrible teams, but the 2 teams he played, they're picks. You can't do that.
Right.
So with that being said, I mean, it's just you can't bet against Clemson at this point. Another team you can't bet against, we got Alabama and Notre Dame here. Again, got Bama. They have arguably 3 Heisman finalists. Obviously, not all 3
Right.
finalists, but they have 3 with Devontae Smith, which is my personal Heisman pick, which is I think it's understandable. Mac Jones and Najee Harris. This is one of
Yeah.
the best Bama teams I've seen in a minute.
Right.
They've also they're on pace to have the best recruiting class of all time. They really just need one more commit, and they haven't slowed down. So
Right.
that's what happens when you win, though, and they're winning.
Exactly. That's what happens when your franchise has been successful for the past 30 years.
Exactly. I mean, this Notre Dame team isn't perfect,
Right.
but they're not. I mean, they're good, but they're not perfect. Is how I see that. They lost to Clemson, but they also beat them. But they lost to Clemson. That was bad.
Right. That was just
It was a blowout. It's exactly what happened a few years ago. The last time they made the playoff and played Clemson, another blowout. So I think Bama blows them out. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. So I got Bama in this one.
Yep. As much as I want Notre Dame to win, I just don't see it happening. I mean, like Riley said, Bama is stronger actually coming into this game than they ever have been. If I don't know if you've noticed, but Devontae Smith earlier this week tweeted that Jalen Waddle will be back. Now, I don't know if he'll be back for this semifinal game or he will be back for the championship game if they make it. But if Jalen Waddle comes back for this game against Notre Dame, there's no way they win. There's almost no chance that Notre Dame wins anyways, but that 1% is completely eliminated if Jalen Waddle comes back. Notre Dame's secondary got flamed when they were playing Clemson. Their run defense got destroyed. Trevor Lawrence was having a field day on their defense. Ian Book cannot carry the full squad by himself, and that's obviously shown. Now, is Ian Book a great quarterback? Absolutely. I think he's an amazing quarterback, and he should be taken somewhat high in this draft, even though it is a pretty quarterback-heavy draft. But, just like every year, Alabama is insane, and they will destroy Notre Dame.
So we both see a Bama Clemson rematch.
Right.
I don't even know at this point. It's too many.
Yeah, part 4, part 3.
I think it's 4. I don't know. Could be wrong. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just need another rematch.
I
think Bama wins it all. Clemson team is good, but the Bama team is better. So
yeah, I think it just depends.
National championship, I got Bama. Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes down to that, I really don't know. It can go both ways. I think Clemson won when they did. I think it's just because Alabama was weaker at the time. It's like the weakest team they've had in a solid few years. This Alabama team is unbelievable. Now, have they struggled in a few games? Yeah,
Defense,
one game.
Defense, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know. I think Clemson will stick with them in the first half, but usually once the second half hits, Bama always just does this scheme where they just go insane. So I think Bama will win.
Nick Saban.
Yeah, right.
It's called Nick Saban.
Right.
So let's rant about the committee quick.
Go. You can go first.
It's bad. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I am one of the biggest the committee's broken people. I'm not saying bring back the BCS because honestly, I don't think we should. They're both broken. I think if you get a good mix between the two, you're fine. But the committee is it's biased.
Yeah.
All the way. There's no reason. Cincinnati dropped like 3 spots and they didn't play a single game. So they're a 5 team. They don't want to playoff.
Right.
And it's the fact that I know some people disagree. Ohio State played 6 games, man. I can't really think only 6 games, and none of them were impressive. Like they're basing these games or the team rankings based off of last season and recruiting. That's not what they signed up for. You can't. That's not how the committee is supposed to work. You're supposed to base it off this season alone, and they're not. So I don't know. I hate it. But your turn now.
Yeah. I think that just overall that there needs to be a change and it needs to come fast. I feel that both Texas A&M and Notre Dame should have been in this game. Ohio State should not even be in the playoffs. Playing 6 games, and even though people are like, we won't judge them on how many games they're played. Come on. Ohio State plays 6 games. 2 of them they struggle, and they barely pull out a win. They're not college football playoff ready. And I hope that is shown. And I hope the college football committee can see that when Clemson destroys Ohio State. I hope that's very apparent. I feel like 3 teams could have deserved a spot here. Cincinnati, Texas A&M, 4 teams actually. Cincinnati, Texas A&M, probably Notre Dame obviously deserved a spot, and probably Florida in a way. There's a possibility that Florida could have gotten a spot. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like Ohio State could have dropped out. It should have been Alabama number 1, Clemson number 2, Notre Dame or Texas A&M number 3, Notre Dame number 4, and then first 2 out Ohio State, Cincinnati.
That also limits rematches because no one wants to see Notre Dame Clemson again.
Right.
And then, but no one wants to see Bama A&M again. Right. We all know how that went. So if you do it that way, it eliminates 3 matches. But I think the way they're doing it with Ohio State getting in, it's showing you don't got to play a full season. Why have a 12-game season if only 6 of them matter? Obviously, this should be a little different. But like that's like the what it portrays, and I hate it. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's bad.
Play a whole season. Obviously, COVID limit that, but they also started the season a month later than everybody else. So
yeah,
why even play a full season at that point?
I feel like the teams who started late should have no chance of playing. It's just like the Big Ten commissioner was so open about what was going on, and they were going to play in the spring, and now they were playing in the fall. And I'm really glad they played so we can kind of see everybody. But I don't understand. Yeah, I just didn't understand why a 10-1 Florida team and an 11-1 Texas A&M team can't make it in.
Florida at this point, they're a 3-loss team. So
okay, but Texas A&M, what were they? 11-1.
LSU. I think so. Florida lost to A&M, LSU, and Bama. So
right. Okay, yeah. So Texas A&M should have been in there no matter what. 11-1 team, I'm pretty sure is what they were. Maybe 11-2, but there's no reason they can't make it in. Yeah, there's no reason they can't make it in over a 6-0 Ohio State. It's unreal. It is really kind of a joke.
It's clear that they're judging it off of last season and recruiting. Like that's not your job,
right?
Like just because they had a good season last year doesn't mean they're top 14 this year,
right? It's just how they are. They're just. It's just not fair. It's very, very, very bad. But there's nothing we can really do except sit here and be pissed about it. It's not like it's not like it matters to me because Michigan State went in once, got destroyed by Bama, and has had the largest downfall of any FBS team of all time. So
that LSU team's kind of competing now.
Yeah, but like I don't know.
LSU will be back. They'll be back next year.
Exactly. Michigan State won't be back for like the next 5 years. But Tuck is coming, guys. Tuck coming.
Tuck coming.
Yeah. About that.
Keep putting Chris Barty on your helmet. You'll be okay.
Michigan State is catching a lot of transfer recruits right now. Lots. Mel Tucker, he's trying to pull this thing. He's trying to turn the train around. And, people are already saying fire Mel Tucker. It's like, guys, you got to keep in mind that this is a rebuild. You got to rebuild. There's no way you will go positive in a rebuild in the first season. I do trust Mel Tucker, and I think that he'll be great in his spot. I just don't know when will we switch it around. Hopefully it'll be by the time I'm in college. Hopefully by the time I'm a sophomore at Michigan State or Central Michigan, they can flip it around.
Yeah.
But right now I don't really know. But another head coach that has is brand new is South Carolina's head coach. I'm pretty sure it's Shane Beamer is the new head coach for the South Carolina
Oh, he was
Gamecocks.
assistant coach.
New assistant coach?
No,
What are your
he was an
thoughts on
OU
that?
assistant coach.
That's right. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that,
I mean,
Riley?
it is what it is. Obviously, he's a good coach and players like him, from what I see and I'm told. So I mean, losing him, yes, it sucks. He did special teams and a couple other positions. But obviously, he's an assistant coach. Assistant coaches come and go. So at
Right.
this point, I mean, it is what it is. He has so many ties to the University of South Carolina, South Carolina. So it made sense. I saw it coming as soon as Will Champ was fired. I saw Shane Beamer. It made sense. So I mean, it is what it is. I guess I think it's a great hire, and players love him. It hopefully he can recruit because they have like the number 107th class right now. Like Jackson State's catching up at this point, so
Yeah.
they got to get it together quick. So I
Right.
mean, they're losing a lot of recruits, but I don't know why so many recruits are mad about the Will Muschamp hire. It's not like he was that good of a coach anyway.
Right.
Like these,
Yeah, I'm
I
with you.
mean, that's how I'm like. Obviously, Shane Beamer isn't the one that recruited these kids, but you can't be much worse than Will Muschamp.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that the new South Carolina head coach will do a great job. I just think it just takes time. People, college football fans are not patient at all. Um, and that's understandable. But you just
In the
have to
playoff now,
really
that's why.
right, right, and they want to get to the playoff. They want to win, and it's obvious. But when you have
Yep.
these two, it sucks because two spots, no matter what, are already taken. Bama and Clemson, no matter what. You're always fighting for that third or fourth spot.
Until NCAA hit.
Right. Yeah, whenever that day comes.
Or Nick Saban retires, I guess.
Even when he retires though, I don't because look at Urban Meyer. It was
So
a
much
playoff
legacy.
team. Urban Meyer retires, Ryan Day comes in, and they're immediately in the playoff. It just it keeps rolling. It's insane. But yeah, Nick Saban, if he does retire, that could be huge. That would be massive to the whole Alabama.
He's the greatest college football coach of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
So I stand by that till the day I die. So
I'm with you on that.
You can't beat him, whether through recruiting, which I mean, you just lost a 5-star running back in the recruiting battle with Bama. So you can't compete in recruiting. Ohio State's the only team even close to competing at this point, and I guess Clemson. But you can't compete in recruiting. You can't compete in playing. You can't do nothing.
Right.
Nick Saban's too good.
Right.
So
I think, yeah, and another firing, a firing that shocked me actually is Auburn's Gus Malzahn. That really threw me off.
Sense. You paid Gus Malzahn $21 million, I think, to leave to hire a Mountain West coach.
Right.
Why? At that point you just keep Gus Malzahn to the end of his contract and find a better coach. Like this was not the best year to try to find a new coach. The coaching carousel sucks this year.
Right.
And
the thing is, Auburn went positive this season. They went 6-4. They had a positive.
Obviously, a couple of those games were a little iffy, but
right. But it was still a positive record, and it was above 500. And as a coach, that's what you want. You want above 500. And of course, I think Auburn just has too big of imagination. I think they just have too high of goals for Gus to maintain. I think they were probably wanting him to push into a college football playoff spot. And with the Auburn talent that they have, they can't do that. Can they push into an NY6 bowl?
You got to recruit better.
Right. Maybe they could go into NY6 bowl.
The name hasn't come to my mind, but here's Boise State's coach. And Boise State's never fired a coach. I don't know if you know that. Never fired a coach, which is stupid.
I didn't know
That's crazy. Yeah, I found this out the other day whenever this guy was hired at Auburn. If he can recruit, Auburn's a contender. If he can't recruit, it was a waste of a $21 million buyout. And I think this buyout culture is absurd.
Right.
It's like a lot of teams like, hey, just put him on fire. Especially someone like Gus, like he might not be the best option. He's a great offensive mind. Recruiting wise, kind of iffy sometimes, I guess, especially right now. But still, it's like at least wait till his contract's over, and then you can probably get a bigger name or better coach in there.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, and right now Boise,
And I think
according to
by that point, you could see a coach like Luke Fickle from Cincinnati, who would be an insanely good Power Five coach. Obviously, staying at Cincinnati and trying to make them a powerhouse. I mean, they're recruiting like crazy. But if you wait that long, maybe you can get a chance to get a guy like Luke Fickle to lose Cincinnati. Which I mean, it's
yeah,
slim chance. But by that time, there's a slim chance you're gonna get one of those guys like that. So that's how I
it's
see it.
rather you rather have it slim than none at all. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but according to Boise State's university website, apparently the coaching for the new head coach is down to three people. It is Andy Avalos, the Oregon defensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator, and the Montana State head coach Jeff Choate. Um, Personally, I don't know anything about
Montana
any of these
State.
guys. Um, if you want to ask about the Montana State,
Kellen Moore's a former quarterback.
yeah, if you want to
So
ask about Montana State, you go ask Bobcats Nightly. But I I don't know. I think the Montana State head coach one is probably going to be the best choice. He Jeff,
Kellen Moore played for your Lions at one point.
yeah, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the Lions, bro. 47-7 blowout today is very bad. But Jeff Cho, I think, is going to be the new guy for Boise State. He was with Boise State in 2006 to 2011. He coached running backs, linebackers, and special teams. And then he also had stops at Washington State, UTEP, Florida, and Washington before becoming the head coaching game at Bozeman. He's known around Boise, and I think he'll be the top coach. And I don't know, Boise's like one of those teams that's like everyone knows them, but sometimes they really struggle.
I mean, they're the greatest power or group of five team ever. I mean, they're one of
Right.
the most winningest. They're one of the most winningest programs in general.
Right.
I mean, they've broke my heart. The Statue of Liberty and what was it, 2007?
I think so.
Beat my
2008,
Sooners.
2007.
Dude, that's a devastating moment for every Sooner fan. So,
Right.
but I mean, that's the best group of five program of all time. They're one of the greatest programs of all time.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. And they're also known for their blue field. They're one of the first teams to ever have a colored
which
field.
is so hot. It's hot. I don't care.
It's
People
beautiful.
don't
It's
like
a
it.
beautiful
I
field.
mess with you.
I totally screw. I love it so much. It's different, and that's what I like about Boise.
Exactly. Other teams are trying to do it, and then it just gets repetitive.
It doesn't look good. I don't. There's another team that does it. I don't know.
Coastal does it.
I know Coastal does it.
There's
I
like
think an Illinois team does. I think Northern
I know
Illinois.
Eastern
Washington does. Yeah.
Theirs is red, which is weird.
Yeah. Right. That's the team I'm thinking of.
I think Eastern
Right.
Michigan has a gray one. Could be wrong.
Yup, they do have a gray one. Eastern Michigan does have a gray one. That one looks okay some days. Yeah. Honestly, I think that's everything.
I think that wraps up everything we had to talk about today.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys,
we'll
thank
try
you
to
so
get
much.
we'll try to get a couple of these out a week.
Yeah. Right.
Just when we're not busy. Just talk for y'all. We'll try to get more than just college football content. That was what today was. That was a subject conversation. So obviously today's all college football. We're gonna have all sports, no matter what. So we'll see y'all in the next one.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. And like Riley said, even though this was really high all college football today, we're going to be doing NBA, college basketball, NFL, and a bunch of other sports because we're Nightly Athletics. We go all around the sports world, not just college football. Like Riley said again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys in the next podcast episode. Peace out.
Peace.